Another week, another edition of NBA and Props. We are back. I am back here in the seat to talk a little about the NBA basketball and some of the best bets. Friday night, how we usually do, coming to you. I want to thank my man Jarod Hector for holding it down last week. As always, the whole crew holding it down, doing a great job. You know, I was on that DMP list, so I had to get some rest and got that done. But we are back here to talk on this Friday night. Another great night of action in the NBA. As usual, to our viewers who know, a lot of action going around the NBA, a lot of news and stuff going on. I want to bring in my guys who are with me. As I mentioned, my man Jarod Hector is here with me again. Jarod, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm cool, man. I had to, fill in. You had that DMP CD last week. I told the people, but then you was out here like Kyrie on Zoom chats. I'm like, man, I thought this dude was resting.
Yeah, man. I you know what? I don't even like to do anything or anybody saying I'm doing something like Kyrie. That means I'm flipping. Like I don't. No disrespect to Kyrie. I say it's good, but I was out there living recklessly like Kyrie. Called me in the chats. You know, I couldn't stay. I couldn't stay away, man. I couldn't stay away. We also have our resident Miami Heat fan, Bryan Fonseca, who I spoke with him a couple of times this week, and he was less angry than usual. Wasn't angry about anything that I could find this week. Yo, B, what's up, man?
Brian, where you go?
I'm right here. I'm doing well. Three things. First, rest in peace, Hank Aaron. You know what I'm saying? We lost a legend today. I'm sad also because the Olympics got pushed back to next year, though I understand why, and it's for the better. But I low-key very much love the Olympics. And, that's the thing that is going to be unfortunate. And then the last thing is like, everyone who was saying that Cam Reddish is better than RJ Barrett. I mean, really, like, go fuck yourselves. Because RJ Barrett was great yesterday, had a career high performance. And Hank Aaron is supposed to be like Tracy McGrady. That's what I was hearing before the draft. And that's what I was hearing during his rookie year. Like, he hasn't even shot 40% yet. So what are we talking about?
You meant Cam Reddish, not Hank Aaron.
Cam Reddish. Excuse me.
But
let me say, all right, wait. Hold on. I got to do it one more time. Cam Reddish hasn't shot 40% yet. You know what I'm saying? I got to correct it for the real. Cam Reddish hasn't shot 40% yet. Why is he better than RJ Barrett? Doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this? You know what I mean? RJ Barrett is one of the top players in the NBA who, like, when he has a good game, people are just like, whatever. Like, it's just fuck. Like, is it because he's with the Knicks? Like, what are we doing here? We haven't even started the show. We already got like comments.
And by the way, Brian, you don't have to low key love the Olympics. You can high key love the Olympics.
Oh no, I love it.
I high key love.
Listen, and I'm excited because as a Boricua, our women's basketball team qualify for the Olympics for the first time ever, baby.
Oh man, congrats.
I want to see how they do. Now the men have to get by Serbia.
But here's the thing. Just so we're clear, the Olympics officially hasn't been canceled yet. It's just been rumored, and now the Japanese delegation and government is trying to say no. So it's not official yet that it's been canceled.
It's probably going to happen, though. They're probably going to push it back. I mean, look, I would like. I don't know if I said this on a podcast or I said this last week here on Picks and Props. I wouldn't want any Americans coming over to Japan if I were Japanese. Keep COVID shit over there. You know what I mean? Stay over there. Don't bring that shit over here.
I completely understand that. We just also want to say we have our man Jamal Murphy. He is with us. You cannot see him right now, but we just have him via audio. So we got it's the Ghostface Murph. What's up, Murph?
What up, fellas? I don't know what to say. Man, I'm too pretty for TV or something. I don't know.
I love it. Wait, I'm gonna drop one thing for public health really quick.
Yeah.
So everybody's mad about the Olympics not happening or potentially not happening, what have you. And we know Fauci came out the other day and said, with the vaccinations happening and everything, perhaps by fall we can return to something of normalcy. I just want to say real quick, if y'all would have kept y'all asses at home, we would have been already better by now. But because y'all want to go out and wild out in these streets, we got to keep delaying until
because we have people who actually are showing up in droves for a Bow Wow concert. What's wrong? I don't even know what's wrong with you. We're gonna get to the basketball people, but we just had some.
We just got some shit to get off our chest.
Clearly, get off ourselves. Oh, one thing before we go. I saw
before we go. The show's already over.
Before we really get into it, obviously we have to talk about mention R.I.P. to Hank Aaron, one of the great athletes and civil rights activists of all time, passed away today. So our condolences and respect to his family. I personally would just say a ton of respect for him. learning about him growing up and just what he's done and the mark he's left on this world, not just the sports community, but the entire world. Salute to the home run king. That definitely gotta talk about that. No, it's another sport, but absolutely
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
86
right,
is a good run too. 86 years is a great run on Earth.
Great run. Absolutely a great run. All right, guys. A lot obviously going around in the association, but the team that everybody's talking about, it's usually the Lakers. And Brian, in his mind, is the Miami Heat. But a lot of people are talking about the Brooklyn Nets, right? And obviously, we got a big three now. Jarod's boy Kyrie.
Wait, what?
Also his boy Harden with his boy Kevin Durant. I mean, this might actually officially be Jarod's team now. He's got the bullets on there.
All these dudes are my boys. How's that work?
Well, James Harden and Kevin Durant definitely are.
Well, listen, I will say this, right? Like, everyone knows, yes, I'm a KD guy. That's easy, no problem. But so over time became a Harden guy, because when you're a KD guy, you watch him in high school, you go to Oklahoma City, they draft Harden, you start rocking with Harden. Like, I'll roll with them. Kyrie, I mean, he kind of whatever, he's Kyrie.
All right. Well, you got your boys in the team. Whatever. Now look, the Harden trade came down. I know you guys spoke about this last week. And obviously, the impact that it can have on the Nets. But then, Kyrie was MIA, and we still don't know what exactly he was up to. And I'm not necessarily sure that it's our business, but Kyrie was doing Kyrie things. Kyrie is now returned. It's going to be interesting, in my opinion, to see how his return can impact this team. Will they have chemistry issues? There's obviously going to be some time needed to work in terms of getting everybody together. We saw them all play together on Wednesday night against the Cavs. We'll get to more on that. This is an interesting team because what we've seen so far, guys, is great offense, not so much defense, and it makes it a very interesting team in terms of betting. Right? If you look at the trends, it looks like they can score a lot, but they might also give up a lot. So, is this a team? Is betting on Brooklyn easy? Is this a team you want to bet on? Is this a team you want to consistently look at and say, "Hey, I want to play around and put my money on this team as the season goes forward"? Brian, I'll start with you. Before we get to Jarod and his boys.
So I think it depends on what you play, right? So for example, DFS, you're going to love James Harden on a lot of nights. You're going to love Kyrie Irving on a lot of nights. And Kevin Durant, obviously, although he's not playing tonight, Jeff Green is. So Kevin Durant's out. Jeff Green's probably a better pick for that. As far as like just overall in the season, it's difficult because the rest of the Eastern Conference, like there are a lot of good teams that are going to challenge them just on a regular basis, right? So I really like the Boston Celtics, for example, even though they got some things to figure out. Philadelphia 76ers, we're going to talk about Joel Embiid later on the program and what he's doing and what that means for betting purposes. But Philadelphia 76ers have arrived to some degree to contendership. Miami Heat still have some things to figure out, although I think they're going to be fine. We just haven't really seen them healthy and at full strength. The Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about Giannis at some point, too. I know Jarod's got some things to say in particular, but they're still a contender. And I'm missing a team actually in the Eastern Conference. The Indiana Pacers, they're a team that I like also. And they're a sort of under the radar team. But that's more so to say, like, there are 6 good teams in the Eastern Conference, the Nets being one of them. But it's difficult to project, like, from a betting aspect, how good they're going to be, like, are they going to get to the finals? Like you would say talent wise, as far as top end talent, they're the favorite. And people say the talent wins in the NBA, but it's not like they're, far and by and large the most talented team in the East. They are at the top, but like as an entire roster, there are a bunch of other teams in the Eastern Conference who could outlast them. So I think it just depends on what you're betting on. But there are some attractive numbers out there if you want to take a bet and say like, hey, they're not going to make it past the second round because of all these teams we mentioned. You can get some money on that if you want to be bold and go that direction as well.
That shall be interesting. Murph, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to save Jarod because he's going to talk about his boys a lot last. So I'm going to save him for last. But Murph, I'm going to go to you. Do you agree with Brian on that? Do you see some value in some places that you can bet on Brooklyn?
Yeah, just not on the money line or any line really, because they're so unpredictable right now. At least for the next, I would say, couple of weeks to a month or so. You kind of want to get them to get all the kinks out and see what type of team they're really going to be. But as far as the over/under, I think it's a no-brainer. You pretty much take them on the over as much as you can until the sports books realize that these guys are just, putting up numbers and giving up numbers. Over the last 3 games since Harden got there, the over is 3-0. The Nets are averaging 127 points a game, giving up 128 points a game. So I would completely bang the over and leave everything else alone for now.
That sounds like pretty good advice. All right, Jarod, they've been killing it offensively. Your boy, KD, I mean, he's been looking like a monster out there offensively. How are you feeling about this team in terms of putting some dollars down on them?
So like my guys here said, I'm kind of with them. Like, we need to figure out what this team is going to be like. So I want to give them about a 20-game sample to see what they look like against the spread and different things like that. So as my boy Murph said, stay away from the spread, stay away from the money line, just because they are like literally like dynamite right now. It's like, I don't know, shit might blow up, shit might not really sure. But in terms of that over under, as Murph said, bang the hell out of that again till the sports books are like, damn, we losing money out here. This is crazy because they're going to score like nobody's business, right? Like, the one thing I will say from a chemistry standpoint, it's going to take them some time to figure some things out. Of course, defensively, we talked about that. But, offensively, I mean, this shit is a no-brainer, man. Like, you put Harden on the ball, have Kyrie work off ball, and KD is just KD. And then when you want to stagger, you take KD and Harden out you give Kyrie the first rest. KD and Harden sub out together. Kyrie comes back in with the second unit, so he can do his dribble, look how good I am shit with the second unit, and they come back again, move him off ball with the 3. That's what I would do. Right now, in your futures bets, I still think you're getting pretty good odds for them to come out of the Eastern Conference. Still getting 2, 3 to 1. So, and I said they were a good bet in the beginning of the season. I still think they are a good bet because, to Brian's point, talent does win out in many cases. And I think, look, in a lot of ways, it's going to be hard to figure out how do we stop this 3-headed monster. They got some defensive issues, which we can get into. But I think that they will find a way to figure that out as time goes on to be good enough to at least get through a deep Eastern Conference run.
I want to go back to the point you talked about in terms of Harden being on the ball. We had a question from Antonio Urbano. Shout out. That's my man, Omar. Shout out for the support. We appreciate that, brother. He asked, should they move Harden to the starting point guard? I know Kyrie's technically the de facto starting point guard here, but yes. Brian and Murph, do you also agree with the suggestion of how they should play offensively that we heard from Jarod?
I think they kind of will just by virtue of James Harden being on that team. Like, I mean, who's going to take the ball out of his hands in terms of being a point guard? Like, I mean, Kyrie Irving, is a point guard, to some degree, but not really, just if you look at stylistically what he does. You know what I mean? Like, Jamal Murray is somebody who's more of a point guard in the sense that Kyrie Irving is, because they're guys yes, they are your primary ball handler when they're out there usually, although I suppose it's Nikola Jokic in the case of Murray because he's in Denver, but they're not somebody who's going to be the playmaker that James Harden is in this case. So I think James Harden is going to be the de facto point guard on most nights, which means he probably won't take as many shots as he did in Houston. He shouldn't if he's with Kevin Durant on the same team, but I think he's going to have most of the ball handling responsibilities and, more importantly, the playmaking responsibilities, which makes him an interesting prop bet for points, assists, rebounds, points and assists, period. Most assists in a game. Like, you're going to look to James Harden for those things as opposed to Kyrie Irving as far as betting is concerned.
100% agree with Brian on that. James Harden is your prop bet for the Nets for sure. And let's not forget, folks, he's an elite playmaker. He's not like average. This dude is an elite playmaker.
Right. When he wants to be, of course. But no, the one game you saw Kyrie and James play together, which was the last game, at Cleveland.
Yep.
Harden was the point guard. I mean, he was the guy initiating the offense. He was the guy that whoever got the rebound was looking for. I noticed that, a couple times Kyrie was begging for the ball from whoever got the rebound, and they were like, "Oh, where's James? Where's James?" So it's pretty clear who the real point guard on that team will be, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, if the players know it and they respect it and they know who can, dish out the ball and get those assists, it's going to be interesting. I too agree. Jarod, I'm with you. You got to play Harden in this, right? He's the guy, the props on this team. He's your guy that's going to rack up the points, the assists. You see him get rebounds, 9 rebounds in the last game. So he's your guy right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Brooklyn Nets progress throughout the season. All right, we're going to move on to our second segment. It is Friday night, so we're going to look at these Friday night game picks. Very interesting nights in the NBA, but we're going to continue with the Nets. We're going to start off with the Nets. The Nets, as we mentioned before, they played on Wednesday against the Cavs, with the Cavs winning 147-35. You heard Murph said bang the over with the Nets all the time. I'm with that because we know they're going to put up points, but like I said, they also can't stop anybody. That is a problem. Now, KD will not play in this game. He is resting. He played 50 minutes in that game on Wednesday. He's resting the Achilles. He's going to get some Achilles treatment, which I think is a smart move by the Nets here. The Nets are the favorites. The line is 6.5 over the Cavs. This game tipping off at 7:30. The over-under, 223 for this game. Murph, I'll start with you. What do you like this game? Do you like the Nets to bounce back even with KD being out tonight? Or are you thinking it might be more suspect defense that we can see tonight?
Yeah, this is kind of a stay away game for me. But like as we just said, we just aren't sure what the Nets are yet. Of course, Durant's not playing tonight. But at the same time, if I had to pick this game, I would pick the Nets because just going off, they lost to Cleveland last game. It's kind of a revenge game. It'd be very hard to see the Nets losing twice to a team like Cleveland. So I think they'll come back strong. Whether they win by 6.5, I'm not sure. But like I said, if I had to do it, I would take the Nets. The Nets are 6-4 against the spread in their last 10. Cleveland is 4-6 in their last 10. So that's a slight trend in the Nets' favor. But like you said, definitely take the over, Durant or no Durant. That's the one you bang, the over.
Yeah, the interesting thing with the Cavs, to show them a little bit of love here, third in the league in defensive rating right now, 106.4. Any love for the Cavs, Brian? I know you like defensive rating. I know you like the teams that play defense, like your Miami Heat. Any love for the Cleveland Cavaliers in this game tonight?
Yeah, actually, given that Kevin Durant is not playing, and to be honest, like when you look at Kyrie Irving, as talented as he is, he doesn't really impact winning in the way that we all think he does. When he was with the Cleveland Cavs and he was sort of the front man on that team, they didn't do very much winning until LeBron James got there. When he was with the Celtics, they were better when he wasn't there. Kevin Durant is really the guy who's going to swing this in one direction or another more than anybody else. Him being out tonight makes me a little more confident that the Cavs could actually win this and then have a second straight win against the Nets, though that part of it is probably a stay away for me. The one that I would bang is that I agree with Murph. 223 as an over-under seems pretty low between these teams. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game regardless because I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop anybody necessarily. To get to 223, all you need is a 112 to 111 score, and I feel like both teams could pass 115 fairly easily given their styles of play and given how the NBA is generally played now. So I actually would feel comfortable taking the over on that rather. And as far as players go, I'm not so sure like what to expect from the Nets without Kevin Durant, except I really like what Colin Sexton did, as you guys know, because I wrote about it in our group chat, and I'm not going to repeat what I said, but I really like any Colin Sexton over and under scenario. I'm taking the over tonight because I think he can really have a repeat performance. I do.
Okay, not bad there. See, so everybody likes the over. Jarod, would you touch the line in this game at all? Or is this a stay away for you as well? And maybe you're playing towards the over under here.
The line's difficult. Maybe I tease it, right? If I really wanted to take the Nets here, I do think it is hard to beat the same team 2 times in a row. And look, if the Nets are trying to beat quote unquote that team, they can't lose to the Cavs 2 games in a row. Now, as my boys did say, I'm taking the over as well. The Nets don't have Kevin Durant, who is their best defender. So that means now people are going to feast. Larry Nance Jr., all the forwards in the Cavs are going to eat like crazy. No rim protection. Like they're going to go nuts. So I think that, the over is an easy one here. I do think the Nets bounce back, but if I had to take the points with Cleveland, but the Nets will win.
All right. I like that too. I think the over under is an easy one. I'm intrigued to see, how these booking houses start changing when the Nets keep smashing that over many games that they play consistently going forward. All right, the first ESPN game of the night. This is 2 teams who also played on Wednesday. Celtics and the Sixers. They played on Wednesday in Philly, with the Sixers winning 117-109. That was a pretty close game throughout until the end. Very physical, very chippy. A really good matchup. Sixers are the favorites here, 4.5 points. Over under is 221.5. Brian, I'll start with you on this one. This is a matchup, that's always been a long-time rivalry matchup here. Both teams always played hard. Word to Rasheed Wallace. And we saw that again on Wednesday. The Celtics have been going through a lot before. Was it Sunday Monday? Excuse me, when they played Sunday when they played the Knicks. Actually, they hadn't played in about a week, so they're just starting to get their legs back together in terms of playing. And they've had a lot of injuries and stuff. Kemba's starting to come back in the fold, so they're a team to sort of be leery of in terms of betting right now. But in terms of this matchup, do you like the Celtics to bounce back after that loss on Wednesday?
I just don't think anyone can stop Joel Embiid right now. Like, as in terms of betting, I would actually seriously look at certain Joel Embiid, point rebound props or whatever it is. Like, I would just whatever Joel Embiid is up for, I would be very, very intrigued by that. And I just have a hard time seeing them being able to stop him, whether it's Daniel Tice, whether it's Tristan Thompson, whether it's Taco Fall, who probably won't play much, whether it's Time Lord. Like, it doesn't quite matter. And Kemba Walker, who you mentioned and who I'm a big advocate of, probably the biggest one on this program, but he still has to get up to speed. He's still coming back from an injury. He looked a lot better last time than he did in the first game. He's moving very well, probably the sharpest that we've seen in the year, but that injury does make it hard for them to bet on. And then, the Jason Tatum factor as well. Like right now, it's Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart has to overperform on the offensive side. You're relying on the first round pick, the white boy whose name is escaping me, Peyton Pritchard. There you go.
That's your boy. That's your boy.
Peyton Pritchard. You're relying on him a little more than you would like to. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I just have a hard time. Jarod loved that shit. I just have a hard time picking the Celtics against the 76ers right now, honestly.
Brian, you mentioned Joel Embiid. 42.
I thought you meant Peyton Pritchard.
not Peyton Pritchard. 42 points, 10 rebounds on 12 of 19 shooting, and 17 of 21 from the line in Wednesday's matchup. So yeah, Joel Embiid might be a guy you want to look at in terms of player props tonight. Jarod, we know how much you love the Celtics and you love Peyton Pritchard. We know that just as much.
Stop hating. Stop hating.
Stop hating on Boston, Jarod. Do you like the Celtics to bounce back here? I'll throw the same thing out through at Brian. Do you like them to bounce back here at all? Do you like the over-under here? How would you bet this game?
So obviously, as I just said, it's hard to beat a team 2 times in a row, but I got to stay on brand. Fuck the C's. All right. So look, not having Tatum obviously is a problem for them. I don't like their interior defense against Joel Embiid. That dude is a monster, like a literal monster. I'm with Brian. Sure. Anything DFS, like if you start that dude, like you're killing right now. It is -4.5. I'm taking the 76ers easy, and I'm banging the over. Why? 76ers, 7 of their last 10 times hit the over. I'm going with it. Sixers, listen, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference record-wise right now.
Definitely. They have not played a very strong schedule. That should be noted, but they're winning the games they're supposed to, right? That's all that matters. Murph, you said stop hating. Let's continue. Can you continue to hate on Boston, or are we Team Philly here?
Yeah, I don't know why. I know you guys. We're in the group chat. We know each other a long time. There's a lot of Brad Stevens hate up in here. So what I'm saying. So I just want to tell the people listening, take everything they said with a grain of salt because they absolutely hate Brad Stevens. Okay,
the inventor of basketball, Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that being said, I'm kind of lukewarm on this game. But I'm going to go by the theory that we've all talked about. It's tough to beat a team twice. So I expect the Celtics to bounce back. And so if I had to make a pick, I would take the Celtics and those, and getting the points, getting the 4.5. Celtics coming off a loss. Actually, I think they're coming off 2 straight losses. So they need this win badly. So they need it more. Tatum is still out with COVID. We know that. So expect another big game from Brown, who's averaging 26, 6, and 4 this year. Kemba looks better, each game he plays. So chances are he'll look his best tonight. They're not going to do anything really to stop Embiid. You can forget that. He's going to eat. Celtics can't match up with him. But the Celtics are 22-7 against the spread in their last 29 games. That's pretty good. So for me, all signs point to the Celtics evening the series. So that would have them covering.
All right. That's going to be an interesting matchup. And all game long, Jarod is going to be hating on Brad Stevens to get another loss.
But I do like Jaylen Brown. That's my guy. So look at him, by the way, for prop bets.
Okay. See.
Agreed.
Jarod showing some love.
I got some love for some Boston guys.
You got some love there. All right. I just want to remind everybody, please, you're looking for the best way to look at the betting lines. You can use the propsnetwork.com live odds comparison. Use the tool on the website. Go to propsnetwork.com/NBA. You can see there's all the different spreads and payouts from the best legal sports books all in one place. It's a great tool. It's the way we look at all our odds here, and we get to compare across the board. You should do the same. All right, continuing along with the games on Friday night. Some really good games tonight, guys. Really good games. My guy, Luka Doncic, he's playing. That's always a good time. The people's champion is, we talked about the other night, Gerard. The people's champion, Luka Doncic.
Which people you talk? Oh no, never mind.
All right, so there's we got a little Texas matchup tonight. Mavs versus Spurs. Mavs at Spurs. Mavs in San Antonio. They're the favorites with 2 points, and the over/under in this game is 223.5. Now, for some people, it's been a disappointing start for the Mavs. They are 500. They are at 7-7. Spurs right around that same mark. So these are teams that are sort of trying to get some separation in the standings right now. A very interesting matchup. Mavs now have Porzingis in the fold. He's been back a couple of games, looking to start to get his feet under him as well. I'm going to start with the Luka Doncic hater on this program, which is Jamal Murphy. Jamal, who do you like this game? Are you giving the Spurs a shot? This is I think a tough game to call right here. Are you giving the Spurs any shot to get the upset at home?
Well, first of all, how am I a Luka Doncic hater? He's a great all around player. Just because I said he's just a tall Trae Young, is that the reason? I mean, come on, give me a break. I appreciate his game.
It's just about the fact that once you have to be in one camp or the other. Now, I've become a Trae Young hater, because I'm a Luka Doncic fan. So now they put me in the Trae. I don't hate Trae Young. That's all.
All right. I don't hate that, man. Luka seems like a nice guy. So and of course he's doing his thing as usual. 26, 10 and 10 this year. Out of shape. I don't even know if he's in shape yet. He's getting there though. But You're right though. This game is tricky. It's a stay away for me. If I have to pick, I would take the Mavs -2 here. Mavs coming off a nice win at Indiana. Porzingis is looking pretty good. Since he's been back 20-9, he's averaging. The Mavs are 5-1 against the spread the last 6 road games, so that's a good sign. These are 2 evenly matched teams so far this year in terms of wins and losses. But I'll take the Mavs because they need it a little more right now.
Okay, Bryan, who you got in this game?
Well, first of all, as far as over and under goes, I don't think I'm ever going to take the under in a game that the Dallas Mavericks are in at any point this season. I don't think this is going to happen just because of the way they score the ball offensively. Now, I wish Luka would take a couple less threes per game in favor of some other shot attempts. But, regardless, he's still going to get his numbers, which makes him an attractive bet. Regardless of what it is you're betting on, whether it's DFS, whether it's, points, rebounds, assists, like Luka's always going to be, most points in the game, like whatever the case may be, that's just going to be what it is, right? And then when you're looking at like the other parts of this game, I actually really like 3 dudes on the Spurs team. I like Keldon Johnson a lot as far as betting goes. DeJounte Murray, who has outperformed even my high expectations for him so far and is a great points, rebounds, assists, and steals guy. And then DeMar DeRozan, who under the radar because he's with the Spurs, because he got traded for Kawhi Leonard, and because he's kind of boring to some people, he's actually been under the radar and very, very effective this year. Over under, though, I'm taking the over, and I'm probably actually leaning toward the Spurs in this game. I feel like they could use one of these wins, and I feel like they're just going to come out hard. They're healthier tonight than they've been because they have struggled with injuries. Guys have been in and out of the lineup. LaMarcus Aldridge is back and is playing well. They actually quietly have some depth on that roster, so I'm going to take the Spurs tonight, and I think they'll cover.
The Spurs are interesting in the fact they've been playing much better than I thought they would defensively, currently 11th in defensive rating, which is interesting. Do you like the Spurs defense at all, Jarod? Or do you think the Mavs offense, which isn't great, they're only 20th in offensive rating right now. They've had a little bit of a dippage in that in the last couple of games. But do you like the Spurs defense to cause some problems here? Does that affect the way you look at the over-under or the line in this game?
It's a 2-point line, right? So it's a pick 'em basically to me, right? Toss-up game. I'm leaning towards Bryan here. I like the Spurs in this matchup. I think the Mavs 6th rated defense and defensive rating is a little bit fool's gold right now. I don't know how good they actually are defensively, and they're going to be missing some people tonight. No Dwight Powell, no Josh Richardson, no Maxi Kleber, I believe. So it's really going to be Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke, and KP, which is fine. It's a lot of offense, but it's not a whole ton of defense. So I actually kind of like the over here, but I kind of like the Spurs to win this game. And again, of course, anything Luka related, prop bets. Check out prop bets on Tim Hardaway Jr. on made threes. That might be something interesting to look at as well.
Oh, I could see that going horribly wrong the other way too.
That sounds like a scarred former Knick fan.
I was gonna say that is a scarred Knick fan talking.
Hey, Antonio Brown, boo KP, boo that man. No. No, boo the people who traded him. Idiots.
I still think KP is a little overrated, but
I mean, he's better than what they got for him. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, that we could agree on.
Yeah. What's Dennis Smith Jr.? Oh, he's not playing. Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot about that. He's not playing.
DSJ, what the
Yeah, no, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, the Knicks are all right now, so whatever.
I mean, hey, 500. Calm down. Let's not get crazy.
They're 500. I like what I'm saying.
Isn't 500 the definition of all right? Or
I mean, you're right. You're right. Yeah, all right. You're right.
Thibodeau would take KP right now. I don't care what you say.
Oh, he would.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Problem is, he wears his ass in the ground, and KP got injury history. So
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Who knows with that? All right, guys. Our fourth game of the night is the Nuggets versus the Suns. This is a good matchup, guys. Really good matchup. It's basically a pick'em. The line is half point, so it's basically a pick'em. Now, the line was at 1.5. That changed right before we got on air here to start recording because it was announced that Michael Porter Jr., Jarod's boy, will be playing in this matchup after being out with COVID protocol, and it's pretty much known that he had.
Wait, rusty ass Michael Porter Jr. is worth a half point.
I guess so. Half point. A whole technically.
A whole
point. Technically.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rusty Michael Porter Jr. We don't know what he's been doing. But yeah, he's worth the point.
He's been doing COVID research. Clearly.
No mask wearing Michael Porter Jr.
That is right. I'd like to know what the over under is on somebody asking him about that after this game. That's right.
Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna jump on the Zoom call after that and ask, like, "Yo, so what do you think about COVID now?" I might do it.
I think you should.
Ask him. Here's the problem. My boy Nick, the Nuggets PR guy, gonna be like, "Yeah, now you ain't coming to no more post game."
Yeah,
Ask him if he was hanging with Chappelle out in Austin.
Yeah. Oh man! All right, the over under on this game is 220. Suns at home. Pick'em. They're a slight favorite, but it's basically a pick'em. The Suns, who've been looking really good here. Jokic looking like an MVP candidate. We'll get to more on that later. Leading the league in assists still as a big man. Very impressive. I'm going to start with Bryan on this one. Who do you like in this game? It's a pick'em. This is a really tough one. It's a good matchup. The Nuggets need wins now because they're trying to get over 500 at 7-7. Who do you like in this matchup, B?
It's weird because we picture the Nuggets being this high-powered offense, right? And just balanced and well-charged and all these things, but they're actually like fifth to last in pace right now in the NBA, and the Suns have been like in the bottom three all year. They're third to last now. I think the Knicks are actually dead last right now. Not that that's good or bad or anything, but if you're considering over/under play, probably a stay away unless you want to, take that under with these two teams. Chris Paul is having the Suns play at a slower pace, and there's good reason for that because it's actually been working and their offenses ran pretty well for most of the season. Now, in terms of over/under, I'm taking the under for that reason because it just doesn't seem like, one, the Nuggets don't really hit the shots that we think that they're hitting outside of Nikola Jokic. They have a lot of inconsistency with their roster, and Michael Porter Jr. is going to alleviate some of that over time. We'll see how he is tonight, but even the factor of him coming back makes this a stay away for me tonight. But Nikola Jokic is the obvious bet if you're trying to look at, points, rebounds, assists in the same way of Luka Doncic that we mentioned before. Points and rebounds. DeAndre Ayton's actually been rebounding the ball, better as of late. So he's somebody I would want to keep my eye on. And Chris Paul, not putting up the gaudy numbers that he did last year, but he's still somebody that I'm keeping in my mind as far as betting goes. But I'm taking the under, and I have no idea who's going to win this game, but I would lean towards the Suns.
Okay, fair. I like the Suns. In this one. being at home. But Jarod, what do you say to that? Is this an over/under you stay away from, or this one you want to get in on the action?
Yeah, the over/under is weird here. Brian's point about pace is well taken. I will say this: the Nuggets are 23rd in defensive rating. They also are fouling at a high clip, and the Suns shoot 81% as a team from the line. So I could see them getting a lot of cheap points to the free throw line just because the Nuggets aren't guarding right now. MPJ, even though he is my guy from an offensive standpoint, I don't believe in any of his COVID or other world beliefs. He is not going to help their defensive efforts, right? So. Right. That's going to be a problem. So I like the Suns in this game. Stay away from the over/under right now, I would say, but the Suns will win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I can see that. Murph, who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, I like the Suns also. Denver's playing a little better, but they're still uneven. The Suns have been the more solid team so far. I like Ayton's ability maybe to bother Jokic a little bit defensively. Ayton has been great, as Brian said, in terms of rebounding. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game, 1.3 blocks. His points could go up. He's only averaging 14. Booker has been solid. He could be better, also averaging 22, 4, and 3. The Suns are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games as a home favorite, and they're 9-1 in their last 10 home games. So everything's pointing towards the Suns. They're playing better on top of all that. So I'm pretty high on the Suns tonight.
I am as well. And if you watch these Suns games, they've been doing a great job of executing down the stretch. That's Chris Paul. You can see that when you're playing a game. So with this game being close, it is a pick'em game. Yeah, I gotta rock with the Suns on this one. They just look efficient offensively, and the execution down the stretch, even in tight games, has been pretty good. The only one I maybe really saw them struggling was their matchup against the Clippers, but they've been really solid down the stretch. So like them. All right, that's it for these Friday night games. We also want to encourage all of our viewers out there. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in thus far. Please, we encourage you, subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. You like the Pick Some Props show, we want you to keep coming back. We want you to watch all our other great shows that we have as well. We got our man Jamoke Davis, who was on the show last week. He talks about the wide world of sports and betting all week long on the Props Network channel on his show Just for Sport. Please check that out. And Joel Walkowski talks about all the football games, basketball games, everything going on in world sports. He even talks a little UFC. We've got it all covered here on the Props Network, so we encourage you to stick with us, continue to support us, hit that subscribe button. Best way that you can continue supporting us. All right, our third segment of the night, we're going to talk a little bit about MVP. This is the way too early MVP discussion, guys. So when we first started this show, we looked at all the future stuff for awards and who we thought would be projected. We looked at the odds for that, and start the season off just to refresh everyone's memory. Luka was the odds-on favorite for MVP. Now, Luka, despite the Mavs being 7-7, and he's still putting up pretty good numbers for daily fantasy and overall, the shooting hasn't been there. The Mavs have struggled. He's not been the MVP that we thought. Now, Jarod Hector's MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, this guy right there, who won it the previous 2 years, he has not also been the MVP that everyone has thought they've been. Now, this is hard to really pick. So I want to ask the guys, right now, thus far in the season, who is the MVP? And when you're looking at that player and their odds to win the award, do you like that right now? So, Jarod, I'm going to start with you. I was saying that tongue-in-cheek. We know Giannis is not your MVP. But I'm going to start with you and ask you, at this point in the season thus far, we're about 16, 17, 18 games for most teams. Who's your MVP, and do you like their odds to win?
Well, loaded question, right? Because as we all know, MVP is a narrative-based award, right? Yeah. So, one, who is the MVP? Generally speaking, you pick the best player on the best team, right? Well, the best team record-wise is Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James is the best player on that team, right? In many ways, you could say he's an MVP. And he's got plus 600 odds, so not bad, 6-1. He ain't going to win it because no one's voting. Everybody's tired of that whole narrative. So that's out the way.
Which is stupid.
Yes,
but I'll let it be known that I agree with you. I think he's the MVP of the league right now.
That's how our colleagues in the media do when they're thinking about this stuff. Oh, plus 900 even for some. And that's why it's so hot. It's so high, right? Because they know they're not going to vote for him. But we're talking about narratives. And right now, what I like from a narrative or a storytelling perspective is two. One, there's a large man in Philadelphia who is leading his team on both sides of the ball, who is playing well. And if he can continue this type of play, he will be, I think, a good choice for MVP. And I believe he's plus 600, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, looking at those odds right now.
Plus 1,000.
Plus 1,000.
Man, that's a good one. Bang, that one.
DraftKings and FanDuel have him at plus 1,000. We've also got PointsBet with plus 800, BetMGM plus 900.
Plus 1,000. I love it. But y'all know where I'm really going. I told you in the beginning of the season this is a good pick. His name is Kevin Durant. He's the best player in the NBA, and it's not even close. No, but seriously, look at the numbers that both Embiid and Durant are putting up right now. Not just your normal counting stats, right?
Right.
Embiid, 1.17 points per possession. Durant, 1.17. Shooting splits, 54, 36, 83 for Embiid. For Durant, 54, 53, 36, 46, and 86. 66 true shooting for Embiid, 69 for Durant. And defense, Joel allowing 0.8 points per possession. Durant also allowing 0.8 points per possession on defense. Look, those to me are playing the two best in the league right now, and their teams are winning. I will also say Paul George is in there because his team is also 11-4, 11-3, something like that. And he's playing well, but, people got Paul George beef and bias, and I understand why. But, I didn't say he was playoff B. He could be regular season B.
Did you mention Paul George?
but Murph, it's for the regular season.
If only you could see my face right now.
It's a regular season award. It's not a postseason award. It's a regular season. Regular season P, and he's playing well in the regular season.
All right.
That makes sense. I want to acknowledge our man Gregory Alcala. Thank you for tuning in. Also, Kyle saying the show is great. We appreciate you for tuning in. Murph, I'll go to you. I'm going to assume that your MVP is not Paul George.
Yeah, my MVP is not Paul George. Can you believe it? Jarod will like this. I'm heavy on that plus 600 Durant. But don't get too happy, Jarod.
He's happy.
He is not on LeBron James's level career-wise.
Stop.
Sorry to tell you that.
We're not doing that.
He's never dragged.
We're not doing that.
He's never carried anybody to the finals.
Here we go with this nonsense.
And even if they get there this year, he had a lot of help. But he deserved. But I am very impressed with Durant. I appreciate him more than I ever have since he's come to Brooklyn. Even just listening.
You're a hater. It's cool.
Even listening to him talk and and trying to instill confidence in the rest of his teammates. And I do think he is a leader in my opinion. So his stature has gone up as far as I'm concerned. And then just the numbers. I mean, and like you said, it's a narrative award. So the narrative is this guy came back from an Achilles injury and acted like he never missed a game. I mean, he's averaging 31, 8 and 6. You went through the advanced numbers, 46% from three. I mean, that's ridiculous. I agree with you also that a semi sleeper would be Embiid at a plus 1,000. He's averaging 26 and 11. And in my super duper sleeper, which is not going to happen, but this is in honor of that awkward moment on TNT last night between Shaq and Donovan Mitchell. I'm just gonna put Donovan Mitchell out there because Utah is having a great season so far, and if they were to keep this up and be the third best team in the league, he should get some consideration. Right now, he's averaging 24, 5 and 4. And it was just funny to me that they were, the TNT crew was talking about he does nothing besides score. On a night, he gave you 36, 7 and 5. So they can shut the fuck up with that. So that's just, I'm showing my man Donovan some support with that super duper sleeper plus 10,000. Why not?
Yeah.
Put $1 on that.
Plus 10,000. Yeah.
Murph, I gotta say, those are the nicest things you've ever said about Kevin Durant. So I guess I gotta appreciate that. Look, the reality is, right? Yeah, you could argue LeBron may end up as like the greatest player of all time. He's certainly in the top 3, him, Jordan, and Kareem. But when it's all said and done, Durant's going to be a top 10, top 11 player. So it ain't like dude is like a 30th best player of all time.
I didn't say that. I just said he's not LeBron. That's all.
Well, I want to, before we get to Brian, I want to ask both of you this because I think something's interesting. You talked about how you think the odds could be really good to put some money on Kevin Durant, but are you guys concerned at all that with Harden coming from the team and maybe him not getting as many shots as he would have had if it was just
now we're talking.
Yeah, do you think that affects the betting, the chances of him winning, and just if anybody will put money on him?
He doesn't need shots,
right?
He's so efficient.
So what you're saying
and Harden really respects him.
Yes, he is. He is
He's
not
Kyrie. That's what
is,
you're saying.
I mean,
he's not Kyrie.
Kevin Durant might be the most efficient scorer we've ever seen play basketball, right? So he won't need 20 shots to get his 30 points, right? He gets 12 to 15, he might get it just like that, right? So I think, and Harden, to Murph's point, there's that respect level that he has for him, and he knows this is the guy. I'm going to play off him. You know, the situation here is Kyrie going to play his part and do what he's got to do? That's the question.
Oh, that is a perfect segue to Bryan Fonseca, who I'm going to assume is not going to pick Kyrie for MVP at all whatsoever. So, Brian, who is your early season MVP, and do you like the odds for this man?
Well, first of all, I still have an issue with Luka Doncic being the favorite. Probably neither here nor there, but like
the right choice. Right choice. Sorry, my bad.
I understand this is a narrative-based award, and as we know, NBA media is heavily populated with white dudes. Otherwise, you know, certain things would be different in terms of how this thing looks, literally and figuratively, I suppose. Luka Doncic being the favorite is interesting still. I felt like, you know, the lines would sort of move away from that at this point.
I would have thought so too.
Given what we're talking about, right? And then when it comes to Kevin Durant, I just don't know. First of all, like he has missed a few games, so I want to weigh that as well, because moving forward, I still think there's going to be rest. He may have a sore Achilles in the middle of March. Like he might miss some games to where this becomes a little bit more difficult. I'm fine with somebody putting money on him plus 600 because it's a great bet. I just don't know if this level of production, I'm still skeptical as to whether or not it's going to hold. Like I know we're all up in arms now because we're like, oh, you know, he came back from a ruptured Achilles. It's still January. So for me, I would want to see it for a little bit longer period of time. Similar to Joel Embiid, because I love the way he's playing and he's so far my MVP for the season. I'm just uncomfortable with betting on the sustainability of that. If it's a, you know, exceedingly high price that I'm going to put on that with Joel Embiid. So far, he is my MVP though, because we've seen him put up those numbers before, but now it matters in a way that it hasn't because of their wins. But as Dexter alluded to earlier, the schedule's been kind of soft. Like when they played Miami, for example, they were playing against not Jimmy Butler, they were playing against Gabe Vincent. Like it was an entirely different Miami Heat team, and half of the team was healthy, and they barely got out of the first game, and Joel Embiid carried the ball and they didn't call it, and then it went to overtime and Miami almost beat them anyway. So like there's a whole bunch of things that went on with that game also. Nikola Jokic is somebody I would look towards also, but the thing is he hasn't quite won enough games for me. And Jamal Murray has been a letdown in that regard because, as I sort of alluded to before, I was highly skeptical as to whether or not we saw the new quote-unquote Jamal Murray in the bubble or not. And we're seeing now he's back to giving you 19, 2, and 2 every night. So that's pretty infuriating. If I had to pick a dark horse, this person is not going to win the award because, as Jarod said, it's a narrative-based award, and this person is probably not on the team that's going to get, any love for this or whatever. But if I'm just going to put $1 on this for the hell of it, Domantas Sabonis is going to be the guy that I'm doing that on, plus 10,000. Like I'll put $1 on Sabonis because he's been incredible so far this year. He's been one of the 5 best bigs in the league probably. So yeah, I'm going to do that because Indiana has overachieved. And I think that, whenever Karis LeVert gets back, he's actually going to help them. He's going to be integrated into what him and Malcolm Brogdon are doing there rather quickly.
I really thought you were going to say Bam Adebayo. I really thought that was going to happen.
I mean, look.
Oh boy, here we
go. Why did I say this?
No. All I want to say is this: 19-9-5. I think it'll get better once Jimmy Butler's back and sort of settles in or whatever. But he's not going to be MVP. I think he's going to be my All NBA third team center, though. I feel confident in that.
You worried about your boy, your boys in Miami, and looking kind of shaky, man.
Jimmy Butler just has to be healthy now. Like that's really the main thing. They've been shooting the ball well. They have to do other things like defend and not turn the ball over as much. That's really been Bam's biggest problem this year is the turnovers. But Jimmy Butler comes back healthy. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that'll help once they settle into their rotations too. I think they're still figuring out who they want to play and where and all that. So
they're going to make a trade at some point. You heard it here first. Watch. It's going to be Kyle Lowry, LaMarcus Aldridge, George Hill. They're going to do something.
Go ahead, Murph.
And let me just say this, with the Kyrie slander, yeah, he's probably not going to win the MVP, but he's the people's champ, okay? Because if I walk outside of my door here in gentrified Bed-Stuy and the cops come tackle me and do whatever to me. I know Kyrie will have my back, and he will get my family a house.
Listen, he's the people's champ, baby. Wait, but that's Kai Irving, though, Murph. We need Kyrie for the basketball stuff.
We do need Kyrie. Come back, Kyrie.
No, please. Let's not with the Kai Irving. I'm not here for that. I will say, Jarod, you brought this up when you talked, and you talked about the fact that LeBron is MVP right now, which I agree with you on that. I'm intrigued to see if LeBron continues to play as well as he is, and the Lakers continue to win, and they separate themselves from the pack in the West. Is there going to be any hope for any of you media members out there to not be on this? Oh, we got to go with the narrative. You know, like could we switch it if he is actually the best?
They're not going to do it. They don't got the balls to do it.
They won't, but they should.
That's the thing.
Here's the thing. I agree that they should. I don't think they're going to have. Here's the thing. If we're projecting, the Lakers are probably the safest bet to have the best record of the league, regardless. Like Anthony Davis is underperforming.
Yes,
He's been underwhelming, and because Dennis Schroeder is there, Montrezl Harrell, like the team is so deep.
I mean, they've all been underperforming, really. Right, like the Lakers have been sleepwalking. They still got the best record in the league.
And AD admitted that last night.
Yeah. But the thing with the LeBron thing is that, like, what's going to probably happen is they're not going to have the balls to give him the MVP, even if it's warranted. And then what's going to happen is he's going to just in the playoffs slap everybody, average 38-7, 38-7, not 38-7, because that 38 points is crazy. But it'll be like 38-7, and they'll just win another championship, and it won't matter. He'll just be pissed off and then get his 5th ring, and then those Jordan conversations are going to get more annoying. But yeah,
it shall be interesting to see what happens to that. All right. Our last segment before we close, and then we take some questions. You know what it is. Keep it 100. Got $100 to bet this Friday night. How are you going to spend it? Brian, we'll start with you first, because, you know, you always have the crazy-ass numbers. You know, $37 on this, $2 on this, 15 cents on this. We know you're going to go with that.
Cents.
Yeah, I had to make it. See, now I made it. Why did I give him this idea at all? Whatsoever? How are you going to spend your $100 tonight?
$50 on a Nikola Jokic triple-double. $48 on. Let me see. Actually, we'll back off the 48 right now. I'm definitely going to put $1 because, you know, I got to have a $1 scuffle. You know, I got to have put your arms down, Dex. I got this. You know what I'm saying? $1. My $1 scuffle tonight is going to be Nikola Jokic and why not Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray will just piss him off at some point in this game. It won't be a scuffle, but I think they'll have a shouting matchup. We'll put $1 on a shouting matchup between two teammates. It's going to be uncomfortable. Why the fuck you hogging the ball? I'm the one who gets 10 assists on this team. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think they'll go at it at some point and it won't be pretty, and then Phoenix is going to beat them. I'm also going to put one on a argument between Chris Paul and Nikola Jokic. So Nikola Jokic has double duty tonight. He's going to be fighting people. His arms are going to be red. He's going to be in slapped the whole game, and it's going to be annoying. And then I'll put $48 on DeJounte Murray being the high scorer in that Spurs and Dallas Mavericks game. I'm a big DeJounte Murray guy, so I think he'll have a big night tonight.
Okay, not bad. Murph, how you spend this $100 tonight?
I gotta keep it simple. I'm a simple guy. You know.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So I'm gonna put 25 on the Suns tonight. You know, I'm pretty confident in that. And then, you know, based on this conversation and just the topic, I'm gonna take $75 and just put it on Kevin Durant to win MVP right now. It's gonna happen. And those odds are gonna go down. Get them at plus 600 right now. Before, you know, in a couple weeks to a month, it's gonna be like plus 300. I'm just telling you that right now.
It's making me so happy, Murph. I appreciate you, man.
Man, Vegas gonna gonna pocket that shit right away. Kevin Durant get an MVP.
Man, that's okay. I like Murph. I like you spending that money tonight. Looking towards the future. I like that. Jarod, how you spending this $100 tonight?
So I'm going to kind of mix it up, be a little crazy, a lot of player props. So $33 on Lauri Markkanen plus 350 to get a double-double against the Hornets tonight.
33. That is a Brian type number.
I know. I've been
Lauri Markkanen double-double? That's gross.
No.
Yeah, listen. I see 18 and 10 tonight. Ben Simmons, $33 on a triple-double plus 600. I see 10, 12, and 10 for him tonight. And then because you know he don't score no points,
the wackest
that's how he does. And then $33 on CP3 over 1.5 made threes. He'll make 2. Nuggets are bottom of the league in 3-point percentage allowed. So I like that one. And then $1 on a meme from Kyrie Irving tonight.
Well, that'll take over from Bernie Sanders being the meme that is everywhere.
Nothing's taking that over.
Nothing's taking that over right now. All right, for me, I'm going. I'm putting $25 on the over for the Nets and Cavs game. I'm also going to stick with that game. Another $25 on Andre Drummond leading that game and rebounding. I think that's a pretty safe bet because the Nets can't rebound and Drummond grabs everything. And then I'm going to put $50 on my New York Knicks, because they are the best defense in the league. They're going to make it 4 in a row tonight because they're playing the Sacramento Kings, who are the worst.
That's a win.
The worst defense in the league.
Tyrese Halliburton started to go down a little bit.
Yes, he is. And I like the Knicks in this. We talked about the Knicks are, I think, what are they? They're very low, and they're 28th, I believe, in pace. They're very low in pace, but their offense is working. I think it works against a team like the Kings, who can't stop anybody. And the Knicks will be efficient enough to get the job done. RJ Barrett, Brian's boy, playing with some confidence. Julius Randle looking like an all-star. The Knicks, 4 in a row, go over 500 tonight. $50 on that.
4 in a row.
4 in a row.
Take that, Cam Reddish.
Brian's so mad about Cam Reddish.
Because people were like, yo, because
who are these people you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know people saying that.
I can't mention them by name because that's what they want. But people on Twitter like, oh, Cam Reddish is going to be Tracy McGrady.
People on Twitter, man.
Emojis and all this bullshit. Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
Can't listen to these Twitter fools, man.
All right, we got a little bit more time, people. A couple more minutes. If you have any questions, please send it to us. We'll try to answer a couple questions before we get out of here. Just also want to remind the people, obviously, gambling tonight, spending your money tonight, please gamble responsibly. If you like this show, hit the subscribe button. If you want more content from us, check out the YouTube channel. You can also check out the content on backbroadcasting.com. You can check me and Brian out, Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, Murph on the Bros pod and the Up Next pod, and Jarod on the 7-Footers pod. When you need that basketball fix, please bet responsibly throughout this entire season. It's 21 and over to bet online. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Thank you, Omar, for the love. Shouting out to Coach Tibbs. That is definitely an impact that he's
Gregory Alcala said, who we like from most improved?
Yo, that's
Julius Randle.
Yeah, I think Julius Randle is high on that. Yeah. I think that's really good. I also think Jeremy Grant. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
But he was good last year, Jeremy Grant.
But he hasn't been as good as he is now.
Because he got the rock now. Because he got the rock in his hand now. That's why.
Right. Detroit sucks.
Yeah, but which is fair. But he's actually been pretty efficient. That's what's been interesting to me with Jeremy Grant. He's actually been efficient. He's taking on more responsibility, more shots. Now, there's some because I hear that in you, Jarod, that might come down, might not be as efficient as we're seeing him now. Do you believe in Jeremy Grant as an MIP candidate or no?
I mean, I think he's a good choice. I just think that because that team's record's not going to be good, they're going to be like, well, how improved are you if you couldn't improve your team? You know what I mean? Whereas the Knicks, they may hover around 500, and Julius Randle's making a big step up. I think he might win that.
Okay, I can see that. Question from my man Omar. Do you see parallels between this Nets team and LeBron's Heat team in their first year? Here's the thing, Omar. I say, did you say no? Who said no? Who said that?
I said no.
Oh, you said no, Brian. Okay.
Yeah.
I say no to that because of one thing. I think that team struggled to find their way early on, but they had a guy in a third star in Chris Bosh who knew his role. And I think all of us on here will agree. We're not necessarily sure Kyrie is going to embrace that role. That's one of the questions that we have with this team. I think that team is way better defensively, that Heat team is, than this Nets team. This team obviously is more gifted offensively, but I think the key is I trusted that team's chemistry. I don't know how the rest of you guys feel, but I trusted the chemistry working out on that team more when they started as opposed to this team. What say y'all?
And I also think the pieces kind of fit, even though we thought it was awkward at the time, the pieces of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, I think just fit better than Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. I think though Eric Spoelstra wasn't quite Coach Spo at the time as we know him now, in hindsight, they had the perfect coach to sort of, manage through all of this. I don't really know what to expect of Steve Nash as much as I personally love him as a player. And I do think he's going to be a good head coach. And I also think around the team, I think that Miami just has more veteran leadership than the Nets did. I think they have more toughness. And I think that they just have a better depth right now than the Nets do, because the Nets are at the point where we're like, oh, when are they going to get JaVale McGee? And I don't think that JaVale McGee is going to like fix anything. I think he'll help because DeAndre Jordan is pretty washed right now, and they traded Jarrett Allen to open up space for him. So look at the irony in that. But like, yeah, granted, Miami did have Carlos Arroyo at one point, my boy, Puerto Rican, shout out, you know what I'm saying? Eddie House was on that team at one point, like, but they still had a guy like Mario Chalmers, and they had other players on the team who ended up helping them, and they figured it out. And I also think that the Eastern Conference is just better now, so the Nets are going to have more challenges in that regard.
I mean, I will say this. Brian makes good points, but let's not get crazy, right? We all have revisionist history because the Heat won their 2 titles. We weren't saying this 20 games into that first year run. People were like, "Oh, I don't know, this shit ain't looking great," right? It was all wheels about to fall off, right?
Yeah, so, but that was a little different.
Let's not wild out now.
That was a little different because LeBron was 25. You know what I mean? People were looking for reasons to cut him down because.
But the reality is the same, though, right? Like they were not good 20 games in, and people were like, "This ain't gonna work," right?
And they didn't get it done either. Remember
and they didn't win that year, right? So
that's a good point.
Right. So I mean, I think there certainly are parallels in that regard, for sure.
Okay. One other question that we had: they
didn't have a player leave in the middle of the season either. I mean, LeBron did it later on, but like he came back and shit was fixed. Or I don't even know. That was Cleveland.
Yeah,
that was Cleveland. So
that was not in Miami.
They didn't have somebody that left to go dancing during the middle of a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit different.
Nah, you're not gonna let Kai Irving live after that. Have the Knicks turned the corner, or will they fold and win 20 games?
What corner? What corner are we talking about?
Yeah, Omar, what corner are we talking about?
The corner to 500 play, 500 level play.
The corner store, maybe.
Well, here's the thing. But Murph, you and I are really like what corner, because you and I both had them on the over for wins this season, over the 21.5. And you know what? That's you did too, Brian. That's looking fantastic.
Oh, I'm very confident in that. I'm good with that. They're going to win more. What was it? 22 games?
Yeah, 21.
That's pretty much in the bag. So if that's the corner, yes, they've turned that corner.
I think, and I said this early on in the season.
500 play. That's what I said.
Actually, I said this before the season even began. I think that they'll push and they'll be in, that range of sort of getting a play-in game. So I think that I'm watching them. I don't know if they're going to get one of those top 10 spots because that's a big ask. We still have to see how the East shakes out and COVID and all these variables. Are these guys going to get vaccinated very soon? Because we know that they're going to get the vaccines before a lot of us. That's just kind of the way things go in America.
But they may not take it. Anyway, it's a different conversation.
No, Michael Porter ain't taking it.
I was getting ready to gear up to make that joke, so I'm glad you did that. But yeah, I think that they're a candidate to definitely get, in the play-in, if not be right on the outside of it, which would suggest that they're going to continue to bang the over as we suggested, which means they won't be a 20-win team even in the 72-game season. I don't think so.
Yeah, I like that. Jarod, are you giving any love to the Knicks? Or
listen, man, I think, didn't I say at one point, I was like, yo, they might. I came back the next weekend, I was like, shit, I might regret that under on the Knicks. I think they might make that 10 spot. They might be right there. They might be right in the thick of things, especially if Washington still is like not playing basketball for 2 months. When the hell's last time the Wizards going to play basketball? Maybe never. So I'm just saying they're going to be in there.
They want to play this weekend too. I don't know about that. We'll see.
They're going to be in there, man.
Yeah, I think 500 to me is still aspirational. If they do that, yes, then they will have turned the corner. I kind of see them still, 45 winning percentage, 45% winning percentage, something like that.
I think that's fair. I mean, that's a jump for the Knicks.
He would probably be between 25 and 30 wins this year, something like that.
That's fine for them this year. I think that's fine. Look, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I like what I see. I'm not getting crazy though. There's some Knicks fans going crazy. They need to calm down. Just calm the fuck down. Like it's
finals.
Not that. Oh, stop it.
Tank for Cade Cunningham, baby.
Yeah. Let's just stop. Tibbs is doing a good job. You can see the culture starting to be set in, and all those things are positive. So
culture.
Yeah, culture. NBA. Love that word. That's part of the NBA narrative for teams. The culture is starting. Yeah, we know that.
Your culture is whatever your star players say it is. That's what your culture is.
Facts.
And Nets learned that the hard way, or maybe not the hard way, but they learned that for sure.
Yeah. All right, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to this edition of NBA Picks and Props. We appreciate everybody who rocked with us on this one. Greg, thank you for checking in. Omar, Antonio Urbano, love that name. Thank you for checking in. Also, shout out to Kyle who checked in. Didn't see our man Eric Chang today.
Eric, I did not see Eric Chang today. Eric, where you at, man?
Eric, where you at, bro? We appreciate you all the time. Eric's busy. He's got a life. He's living. You know, maybe Eric was like, "Yo, Dex wasn't here last week, so I'm not gonna show up." I don't know, but I'm back. I'm back, man. Please, as I said, continue to subscribe to the Props Network on YouTube. Please check out all our other content. We will be rocking with you every Friday evening before these games on. Try to make you the best decisions and most informed decisions because it's so important in this time of COVID with all these games being canceled, things changing at the very last minute. It's always important to have that information. So much love to my guy, Jamal Murphy. And next time we got to make sure we get Jamal's face up on here because we cannot have him as a black box. We can't have that.
No, man.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful black box.
I know. I see all you guys from my end, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, man. We can't have you in the dark. Looks like you're just sitting in the dark. We can't have that. My man Jamal Murphy, my man Jarod Hector, and my man who was not so angry this week, Bryan Fonseca.
Hot take. Conor McGregor loses this weekend. By the way, another bet. Just
yeah.
You know.
How much is he getting paid?
Oh man.
We wilded.
We've had some UFC talk on the Props Network this week, so you can go back and check out some of those videos about the big fight coming up this weekend. But that's it for this edition of NBA Picks and Props. Until next week, next Friday, when we'll be back with more about the association. Till next time, guys. Peace.